I'm Sara, I'm running RelayFunder, and we are unlocking capital for refugee communities. So right now, as you've heard from many of our panelists today, we are in a humanitarian aid crisis. 42% of funding was cut this year, and we have 120 million displaced persons, and that number is unfortunately on the rise. Numbers are predicted to be about 500 million by 2030 and 1.2 billion by 2050. We're also in a meta-planetary crisis. We have climate catastrophes and intensifying and accelerating conflict. In addition to funding cuts, we also have just outdated aid systems. Our systems are really broken. They're top-down and they're inefficient at getting money to the people who need them most. Also, traditionally, refugees are excluded from financial infrastructure, and this is really problematic. Also, as you just heard on our last panel, refugees, a lot of them don't have ID. But hey, guess what? Web3, we're evolving. The tech stack is maturing. We still have the ability to potentially, hopefully, reach, 1 billion users. And I think that this is literally the most important problem that we can be solving. So that's what I'm working on. I have a crowdfunding, quadratic funding platform inspired by Gitcoin. I've been really inspired by a lot of the public funding goods mechanisms that have been developed. And we are live in a soft launch right now, focused on Kenya and Uganda, and supporting campaigns of projects in refugee communities. Maybe it was a little ambitious to put a demo in my video, but right now this would be taking you through my platform, which is, again, I mentioned crowdfunding. Yeah, look at this. So we're working with an organization called RefuNite. RefuNite has 120,000 trusted, vetted community leaders, and these people can come and apply to have a campaign. We're attempting to disrupt crowdfunding in the sense that we want the users, the donors who are engaging, to feel more connected to the cause in a long-term way. So the way in which we're doing that is the campaigns get to provide updates and keep the users engaged so that they understand what's happening. And all of this is on-chain as well. We're built on Celo, and everything is on-chain. And I think we are still demoing. But really what we're trying to do is optimize a feedback loop so that we can get more funds to those who need it most on the ground. So this is an example. So you can see everything's going on-chain. We're also working with Kickstarter's Web3 protocol called CCP. I believe they might be identifying as Oak Network right now, but we're using their smart contract treasuries to move funds as well. Oh, whoops, too ambitious. So I just came out of the Funding the Commons residency, and I worked alongside with a lot of other builders and really incredible people and a lot of talent. And I feel really fortunate because we had about 4 projects emerge working on the humanitarian aid space that were related. I'm almost done. Oh, I'm almost done. Okay, keep going. So these are the issues I'm tackling as well: identity, financial inclusion, income generation, and secure storage of value. And I just want to quickly showcase this one. Can you press play? This I developed with a cryptographer over the last 2 weeks from capsules. Basically what we did is create a digital artifact around a funding project that we did last year in Uganda, where we raised money to build a music school and a refugee camp. And we produced from that experiment a 24-minute video, but now that we live in the attention economy and it's hard to capture, people's attention, we put a digital artifact, which is basically extracting some content from that video, and I did a little bit of an editorial piece around my why, and like why I'm working on this problem and why I think it's the most important problem to be working on. So yeah, we'll just take a glimpse, but it's so cool, look at this. So this is my capsule that was created with the capsule team. They've been really incredible to collaborate with. Okay, I'm getting the time button. Yeah, we can keep going, but this is all real world footage, and look out for more information. Okay, who's up next?
Thank you very much. So hopefully they have my slides. Claudio, there you go. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. My name is Claudio. I'm co-founder of Metapool. We're a multi-chain liquid staking DAO. I'm going to talk about basically what we've done the last 2 years in distributing more than $1.2 million. So, okay, hopefully it's going to work. So this is how we did it. Basically, what we did is all liquid staking, all the staked assets that were deposited on Metapool, we grabbed all the protocol fees through our multi-chain DAO governance token, MPDAO. And so when you could vote either for grants or you can vote for validator nodes. But all these activities, what we did is we signal folks that wanted to support different type of projects. We supported projects on Ethereum. We supported projects with Giveth, Gitcoin. And we also supported projects through our own community. What we wanted to do is basically want to build tools that empower sovereign individuals in what we're calling frontier markets. So these are regions that are at the border of massive crypto adoption. And the best way and sustainable way to do it is through the staking rewards and the protocol fees that we generate. So this is what we did. So $1.3 million is what we distributed. We distribute this on a monthly basis, and it's done all on-chain. So there's no custodial service being used. Everybody that supports our protocol can be part of the DAO, and more importantly, they can also earn rewards. So this is something that no other LST has done. We do this in a very transparent, everything is on-chain. There's no governance forum post. You could do that. All our governance is on-chain as well. And so we allow a permissionless system to distribute all the rewards to more than, I think like 65 projects right now. One of the important things here is that we are also supporting node operators. So when we started to fund the different projects, we started to notice a pattern, because many of them wanted to do their own project, but they were not engaged with the ecosystem. And what we did is that we allow them to run a validator node, earn the staking rewards, and then get support from the ecosystem and the community as well. So we're trying to create these loops of value creation through a sustainable manner, because the only way that we are able to distribute more is by people staking on the protocol. And so we've done that for the last 2 years. More excited for us is that we partnered with the University of Zurich, and this year we did 16 scholarships for researchers in LATAM and in Southeast Asia to participate in the Blockchain Center of the University of Zurich summer school program. And this is something that our public organizations in our countries are not going to support. And so we felt that this was a common good that we needed to support, because more research needs to be done in the regions that are the core users of all this great technology that we're building. Here you can see how we started back in 2023. We did like $1,000. And then subsequently, as we progressed, we were distributing $90,000 per month. And so this is something, we did this all transparently. Everything was on-chain. It was a tough program to support, because you're onboarding folks that do not know what governance is, how voting is. And so it was kind of like a chicken and egg problem. But at the end of the day, the money was there, and it was open for everyone. Shout out to Carlos Melgar, who was at Gitcoin at that time, and the Giveth team as well. And so definitely this is a sustainable manner to do it through the protocol fees. Now, what's the call to action, right? For us is through staking rewards, we can build sustainable systems for growth. That's as more people stake, more fees are distributed, and so this creates a virtuous cycle. Further ado, more information, please scan there, reach out to me. I'll be here for a few more minutes, and thank you very much, everybody, for coming to Funding the Commons, sorry.
Cool. Next up, Alisher.
Hi everyone. My name is Alisher. I work in Logos on different projects, and one of them is Keycard. Yeah, and one of them is Keycard. Keycard is a hardware wallet smart card hardware wallet, and it's all open source and basically very affordable, and a builder can build it on their own desktop with smart card reader. And when I learned more about problem of refugees in displaced communities, I've seen an opportunity to apply keycard technology to humanitarian problems, and I come with the idea of Relay Card. So it's offline smart card hardware wallet and ID for refugees without smartphones. Imagine you are forced to move somewhere else in another country, and you don't have your passport, you don't have your bank card, you can't pay for groceries, you even can't be paid for your work you do for community. And this is a reality for millions of refugees around the world. I personally have the same experience. My family and I fled the war between Tajikistan and Russia in start of the 90s. Yeah. So during the residency, we discussed a lot about a problem of the last mile of aid distribution. Such amazing platforms like Funder Relay, like RelayFunder and Relay ID already solving it in a beautiful way. But what about the last yard? In this diagram, you can see how funds moving from sponsors to crowdfunding platform, then they go to trusted web of community leaders, and community leaders can distribute them among their communities to solve issues that their community have. But a lot of refugees don't have phones, and they can't use these apps like Relay ID. So that's why I think it's important to think about other ways. So yeah, old ways are failing. We know that banks and SMS money are not available for many reasons. So in some countries, refugees are not allowed to use bank cards, so they don't recognized as citizens. And SMS is also not works because some of them don't have phones, and they use the same SIM cards and swap them inside the phone, and it creates a lot of issues and even thieves sometimes. And cash also is not a best way because it's untraceable and unsecure. So yeah, solution. I think solution can be a card like this. It's already a hardware wallet, and what I did during the residency, I'm designer, I'm not a developer, but I vibe coded the small app that can do things such holding verifiable credentials. I think verifiable credentials is awesome thing because it can be issued in decentralized way. For example, you can have verifiable credential from your community leader that recognizes you as a member of community. You can have verifiable credential from NGO that recognizes you as a refugee, or you can even have verifiable credential from your family lead. Sorry, it should be a video, yeah, of this app. So basically, I built a very simple Android app, a proof of concept that shows how those verifiable credentials can be written, read, encoded, and decoded in a very simple proxy app. So this app like this with these scenarios, but with better UI and UX, is just proof of concept. Yeah, shows how a community leader can issue those cards and write verifiable credentials to their community members. Can we go to the next slide? Please work. Yeah, this is QR code. Code is not great. I said I vibe coded it, but it works, it builds, and it shows that it's possible. And something is very important for me. How it works, right? Okay. Yeah. So idea is to shift from reaching most community members to reaching all of them with very affordable smart card running open source applets. Yep. Last 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds. So my ask, I want to co-design a pilot with Relay ID app, integrate this keycard SDK. We can modify it for humanitarian causes and deploy small field test somewhere in displaced communities with a little community to just check how it works and gather feedback and understand what we can do as a next step. Thank you. Let's build more decentralized and inclusive future.
Hi everyone, I'm Shinya, co-founder of Beacon Labs, and today I'd like to talk about the importance of evidence-based public funding. Anyway, how do you feel about current public funding systems? I think current public funding systems need to reflect more plural values. I think in order to reflect more plural values in public funding space, we need impact evaluation and evidence-based practice. Actually, evidence-based practice is more related to impact evaluations. Generally, evidence-based practice has three processes: create evidence, communicate evidence, and utilize evidence. Impact evaluation basically means, in our context, create evidence. I think we need our evidence layer for impact evaluations. Evidence layer is composed of open source project contributing to evidence-based practice. These projects. By the way, impact evaluation means the measurement of the difference in outcomes. This point is often misunderstood. I think, by the way, impact means the difference between observed outcomes and unobserved outcomes. Unobserved outcomes, it's counterfactual, By the way, are you able to evaluate impact? No. Right. Actually, it is hard to evaluate impacts because we don't have a plan. Plan is a causal hypothesis, like a causal model, including a logic model. So we don't have a plan. We cannot identify the baseline before the project. We don't have a baseline, so we cannot identify the we cannot collect the data and monitor the data. If we have a plan, this cycle is working: planning, execution, monitoring and evaluation, and certifications. Beacon Labs is building Muse as a missing evidence layer for planning. Muse is curating evidence from existing research papers automatically and manually. Anyone can make a causal model, a logic model, by using Muse curated evidence. The logic model will be eventually issued as a hypersat V01. Congratulations, hypersat V02. I'm excited hypersat's new upgrade also. So if evidence layer is working, this cycle is also working. And then if evidence layer is working, we can have both funding mechanisms: outcome-based retro funding and evidence-based prospective funding. Evidence-based prospective funding can fund more diverse public goods with a causal model, with a causal hypothesis, Because, sure, okay. Outcome-based retro funding and, evidence-based prospective funding can be leading to plurality eventually because of reflecting the diverse values and funding diverse public goods with a causal model through impact evaluation and evidence-based practice. Actually, Ethereum space has produced many logical use cases like quadratic funding and prediction market. In the real world, evidence-based practice and impact evaluation are also in the experimental phase. We have to produce the use case of impact evaluation and evidence-based practice from digital public space, including Ethereum space together. Thank you for listening.
So, hi guys, I'm Victor. People call me Torugo, and today I'm gonna show you the Moonlight. So, Moonlight, it's a privacy layer that makes public blockchains usable for regulated system finances. We are a spin-off company from the AHA company. The AHA company, it's a Stellar integrated partner, and we have a lot of exposition and Stellar network ecosystem. And we've been working with systemic banks like Société Générale from France. So guys, I would like to bring your attention to how people has been forced to choose between privacy and compliance. So during the last years, we can see the compliance pressure index growing up, followed by the privacy coin, the listing in the exchanges. So represented by the blue line, we can see the privacy tools usage. And we can see a big down movement when Tornado Cash was sanctioned in 2022, and Mika started to operate in the Europe in 2023. So it makes me think about why privacy is too difficult to active in public blockchains. So the first point is account balance is visible to anyone, and transactions are not confidential. It makes me think about anyone can see the account balances and look at the transactions history. And last but not least, we have the regulatory needs are very unique depending on the region and the jurisdictions. So looking at these points, we can conclude that privacy is not that. We need compliance privacy. Based on these points, we start to create the Moonlight. Moonlight create a privacy layer that help us to fix account balance and transaction visibility when we ensure the regulatory needs. So, okay, Torugo, how Moonlight do this? Moonlight shield client data, and so sensitive account info never hits the public view. We blended the transactions. So found movements are invisible to outside observers. And we use the selective transparency using controlled disclosure that satisfies compliance and money laundering. So this is the Moonlight core building blocks. On Moonlight, we don't use just one address for the accounts. We split the account balance in many addresses, and UTXO's entropy model help us to do this. We have a standardized derivation that help the users to manage both of these keys using just one passphrase. We have trusted providers, trusted privacy providers. That is the entity who connect the users with the regulation. And we have the privacy channel. Privacy channel is responsible to ensure the Moonlight patterns on-chain, and it could be different based locations, jurisdictions, and regulations. So what are planned as the deliverables? We start to create a tool set to build a regulated privacy-first ecosystem. And these tool sets are composed by an open source and audited on-chain smart contract. We have a client SDK who has capabilities like standardized key derivation, account management tools, transaction bundling, and custom protocol XDR encoding. We have a provider integration services as a configurable service that facilitate privacy provider integration and adoption to the ecosystem. And we have a Moonlight open source and white label wallet. So this is the dream team behind of the project, and we will be on with our solution on the Stellar testnet very, very soon. So feel free to scan, to chat about privacy, or book some Moonlight demo. And I really appreciate your patience and your attention, and thank you very much. See you around.
All right. Lightning talk on new rails for global finance, bringing real-world impact to where it matters. Hello, everyone. My name is Alon Shavit, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Upright Ventures. And in this talk, we're going to cover Upright's mission, our latest programs, infrastructure for change, and real-world impact through the eyes of our graduates. We're going to look into some case studies. And Upright's mission is to guide Web3 founders towards building sustainable businesses. What makes us different is that we build ecosystem-specific programs, user experience and go-to-market centric, and focus on founders' personal growth. And one of our flagship programs is Celo Camp, that has been a global accelerator for blockchain founders since 2019. Our alumni have raised more than $350 million and contributed to more than $2.5 billion in on-chain transactions. And you can see some familiar names there. Some of them also spoke here today. And the reason we are super excited about Latin America is that it's growing to be one of the most dynamic regions in terms of volumes, of cryptocurrency volumes. In the last few years, Latin America recorded in nearly $1.5 trillion in cryptocurrency transactions. Brazil and Argentina actually accounts for nearly a third of the entire volume on-chain, and big share of that volume is around stablecoins, and 86% of Latin America firms report having already established partnership to support stablecoin integration, so the adoption is already here. And on that note, we partnered with MiniPay, which is a stablecoin wallet that is developed by Opera, if you remember the open source browser. And they have very big market share in developing countries, in Africa, and they are expanding rapidly also in Latin America. And in our latest cohorts, we really focused on helping founders on board to the marketplace of MiniPay. And the wallet actually has more than 11 million wallets created and processed more than 200 million transactions on chain. So we are very excited about it. And I want to share with you some case studies on startups that actually launched. One of them is BitGifty, which help user pay bills with stablecoins. They are scaling across Africa and Latin America. They have close to 200K monthly active users on MiniPay, and they are live in 14 countries, and 1.4 million monthly views in MiniPay, and that just goes to show how founders can leverage this type of channels to get to actual users in emerging markets. So this is a very powerful tool, and users in many countries in Africa, in Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, now rely on BitGifty for everyday payments using stablecoin, and this is truly exciting and quite remarkable. And another project I want to highlight here is Pesia's Kitchen, who are rescuing food and fighting hunger, one meal at a time. The problem they are solving is that over 35% of all food produced is wasted, while more than 20% of the population experience food insecurity. And Pesia's Kitchen actually rescue 3 million meals a year, distributes to 10,000 families each week, and with a meal cost of 40 cents from the farm to the table. So they built the solution with a good dollar, which you also heard from today. And it's quite a brilliant and simple solution where volunteers and also recipients can scan this QR code, and you can all scan this QR code right now and experience it as a user will experience it. And by doing that, you actually record the action for good on chain, and the next meal is actually being sponsored. So if you scan this right now as a test, this will actually sponsor the next meal. And these are actual footage from the ground of people volunteering, rescuing food, and scanning those QR codes. And this is, thank you guys. So yeah, we're right in the end, so thank you. And please join Celo Camp. This is the link, celocamp.com. Thank you so much.